said, there's that over the years have done the right thing. There's been millions of dollars spent up here on thinning. But I've also seen so many times where people just won't do anything because the person next to them is not doing anything, or the person down the road. So,
And that's a great point, and that's kind of begs my next question. This DSO is great. You know, like, all the people in here are friendly to it, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna firewise, I'm gonna mitigate as best I can.
Absolutely.
What is the timeline for this DSO? We're in phase 1 now. Phase 2, phase 3, when do fines begin? Is that gonna be phase 3? I know it talks about the 75%.
Yeah.
So when we get there.
Yeah, and I
would
think
assume that's
that,
it.
yeah,
But it follows Kurt's comment about, I do all this stuff and I firewise my property. Literally 20 feet, 25 feet away from me is a lot that is just full of dead and down trees.
Yep.
That I can do nothing about. So I do like that comment about, hey, let's approach the resort, the village, and say,
yeah,
can we get some leeway I go out there, and I'm not looking to take down many trees. I just want to make sure that the threat isn't 25 feet away from me
absolutely.
after I do all the work
Yeah, absolutely.
on my property.
Yeah, no, and that's something, I mean, that's something that we've been hearing a lot, right? So especially hearing that from you, Kurt, thank you for speaking up. Trying to find the right people to talk to. I'll try and find the right people to talk to and see what we can do. If there's a village lot next to somebody and they want to mitigate it on, things like that. That's definitely something to think about in later phases. And to answer your question on, like timeline of phasing, I think we're gonna base that mostly after this first year and see how it does and see how our end processes things. And then we'll be able to have a more clear answer on that.
Yeah,
I wish I could have it now, but
this is awesome.
thank you. It's good.
I have a lot at my house and everything is totally wrong. Okay, I didn't build the house. I bought it. I have a beautiful view, but everything is wrong. But I've cleared my lot. Well, I haven't cleared it. I've thinned it twice. It was thinned before I bought the house. I just bought a 4-inch chainsaw so I can go out and get some delicious stuff.
Yeah.
No, the big ones stare me to death.
Yeah.
But my thought is that it's not, when I thin my lot, it's not gonna save my house. My house is wood, it's on stilts. I did put a metal roof on it, but it will spontaneously combust long before a fire ever gets to it. But I figure if I thin my lot, then that gives a chance for the ones above me to
Absolutely.
survive.
Yeah.
So it's like a civic responsibility where it might not benefit me at all.
Yeah. No, and that's a testament to you, right? Not everybody is gonna want to do that, but thank you for doing your part and being a good neighbor. Appreciate it.
So this is gonna be pretty much the new ordinance.
Yes, it is the new
From,
ordinance.
okay, for 0 to 300 feet, 400 feet, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
This is the QR code to call you and say, hey, I'm interested in having you come out.
Yeah.
So I provide home service for several homes here in Angel Fire.
Okay.
Been in the valley for over 40 years. So do I have permission to call you for this homeowner to come out and look at it? Because I'm gonna be doing the work for them.
Yeah, if they have, if you have like written permission,
Uh-huh.
as long as there's permission from the homeowner, absolutely, you can give me a call.
Cause I sent letters out to my homeowners, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I've gotten 17 responses.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, you can
So-
send them that pamphlet as well, or if you wanna, my card's back there, if you wanna send me an email. And, I can send you the PDF version of that and you can email it to them.
Okay,
if you
well,
want that.
what they're doing is they're telling me to do what I think is best.
Okay, yeah,
So, you know, I don't wanna go in and then do it and then be like, well, we didn't do it right. So
absolutely.
my thing is, you know, to be able to get somebody
Mhm.
that's the ambassador to come out and look at it and tell me I'm on the right path or not.
Absolutely,
Which
yeah. no, we can
I
do
feel
that.
like I'm on the right path, but
Yeah.
so with that addressment, Looking at some of my properties, there's a lot of scrub oak.
Yeah,
So what is because it's all ground coverage.
yeah.
So what is your thoughts as far as spacing on scrub oak? Because that is a native plant
Mhm.
and the deer and the elk.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
So you know, it's ground coverage, so you don't want to go in and cut it all out.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what we were kind of saying, like about that fuel breaking, because we know that there are gonna be some of those trees. I went on an assessment the other day where there was a juniper bush that was sentimental to the people and they didn't want to get rid of it. I was like, okay, well, there's a lot of other stuff that you're gonna have to get rid of if you don't want to get rid of that, right? So we're just really focused on those fuel breaks, and I mean, obviously try to thin it out as best you can. That would have to be something, you know, that we'd have to take a look at, right? It's
Oh, yeah.
definitely different.
Cause I looked at one 2 days ago and I was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that it'll go up, so that's
Yeah,
something to.
Cause they bought the lot next to them.
Mhm.
So the lot that they're on is decent, the house, where the house is, but the lot next to them that they just bought is
Yeah,
full of it.
yeah, and I mean, if there's trees on the lot too, same thing, like just make
Yeah.
sure we're limbing those up as much.
Okay,
much you can.
well, you'll be hearing from me quite a bit then.
Sounds good, that's okay. Aspen, A-okay, they're all good. If they're by your house, everything, aspen are good. If they are dead, they are not good. Take the dead ones out. Live ones, they're all good. We don't have any issue with those. And there are a couple of deciduous trees, other like ornamental trees and stuff like that that are similar. And that's something, if you get an assessment from me, that we can look at. Yeah.
I apologize, I keep,
Yeah.
every time somebody says something, it begs another question in my mind. So with this, DSO, it sounds like the slash program is going to have to increase.
Mhm.
Have you looked at, because I've seen slash piles sitting on the side of the road for a long time
Already,
before
yeah,
somebody comes and picks them up.
yeah.
Has the fire department looked at, and the village looked at, hey, we're gonna have to put more money into either buying more trucks to come out and pick this stuff up, and stuff like that. Is that something that you guys have looked at?
Yeah,
Because
so
this
that's
is gonna be a huge increase.
absolutely.
Like at least twice.
Absolutely, and that's kind of why they were really, really focused on getting rid of all of that slash that was in the pit this past winter season. And they actually just today, finished the last 3 burns or started the last 3 burns on the pit. So we are ready for intake. But it's the same thing. Where they're at right now. We want to see where we're at after this slash season and see, you know, what can we do better? If we need to get more funding, where are we gonna find that funding, things like that. So it's really, this first year is gonna be a trial run, so there might be a couple of things, you know, I'll get to you in a second. There might be a couple of things, you know, that we get wrong, and there might be a couple of things that we get right. So we're really just like hoping you guys hang in there with us, and we'll see if we can make it better.
Good start here, and I just, it keeps begging, every time I hear something, I'm like, oh, that means, you know, we gotta look at this, so.
Yeah, of course.
I can, give you a little information as far as what's happened just in the last year. And how the ability to handle slash has improved. One, they've increased staffing levels in the wildland team. They have 2 grapple trucks instead of 1 for pickups.
Awesome.
2 loaders to process instead of 1. Discussion about other equipment that can be utilized. We're all well aware of the fact, and we hope to see a lot of slash come in. We already made preliminary steps to improve it, but we already know that we need to do more when the quantity really gets bigger. And the difference in how much material was processed this winter compared to last winter is it's a huge change. We're talking from maybe a couple hundred cubic yards to, I think it's estimated that they got rid of 25,000 cubic yards this winter. Wow. So, and plus one of the key things was increasing the staffing levels, so.
Yeah.
And we're on target to buy a new excavator as well.
Oh, yeah, I did forget about that. Yes,
Couple other options that, they've worked with me on my property. Have done, controlled burns in the winter when there's snow on the ground. We haven't had that much of a chance this winter to do that.
yeah,
And they've also, chipped, the slash on my property. Shoot it right back out there, don't have to haul it to the dump, provides good ground cover and erosion control. So that's another option to consider.
absolutely. Does anybody have anything else to say?
You have one online.
Oh, yeah.
It says, why aren't businesses included?
Yeah, so I mean, that's the same thing that we're kind of talking about processing wise, right? So we're looking at doing it in phases, things like that. But yeah, if we included, you know, those big parcels of land right now, we would not be able to handle it. And like I said, we were really focusing on biting off something that we could chew instead of not being able to. So yeah.
So I'm sorry, I put the question on the chat. So I'm just thinking the resort in particular. I look at that ski area and there are an awful lot of houses right on the edge of that ski area.
Mhm.
That is a disaster, absolutely a disaster waiting to happen. And I
Yeah.
think they ought to be held accountable to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, hopefully, you know,
Along the ski area.
Houses along the ski area.
yeah. I mean, hopefully at some point, you know, that down the line, that's something that we can handle and we can deal with. So we'll see.
So my other question I had online there was regarding the June 1st deadline. I think it's a valiant target to hit, but we're seven and a half weeks away from that date. My concern, at least for me personally, is I'm not going to hit it. And so that's going to reduce the motivation for me to even finish until next June. And so I'm wondering, is there a way to stagger it? So June 1st is the target, but if you hit August, that's your date that you try to hit every year to have your lot certified.
Oh,
It
yeah.
would also potentially spread out your staffing concerns in terms of doing assessments, in terms of handling slash, in terms of the crews available in the village to do the work. If every homeowner turns to the 4 or 5 groups of people who are actually doing this type of work, they're not going to finish by June 1st.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of why right now this is voluntary. I don't think it's not, you don't have to get certified by June 1st. I'm actually wondering where you saw that. 5.1, thank you.
But it's highlighted, is that like in phase 3 or something?
Yeah, so 5.1 is definitely something, compliance.
I think that's in later phases.
Yeah, that's something that's later phases. So same thing, like I was saying, it's voluntary right now, and these are all, you know, good things to bring up right now while, we're still looking at it. And if you have any ideas, things like that, you're definitely welcome to shoot them over to me. But I think they were really going for that June 1st, regulation because the fire season is, you know, May to August, September now, I guess, even into October. So I think that June 1st was kind of just that date that they.
Yeah, and I fully appreciate the timing behind June 1st, but what I read here is if I don't have my lot clear and certified by June 1st of this year, I will not see that 50% reduction on my wildlife protection fund.
Are we doing? I don't know if we're doing reductions this year. Are we doing? We're doing reductions this year?
Well, we have to do it by June because statutorily, we can only make changes as of July 1st. So you have to have your permit in by June. We have to then take it to council and get approval and process it so that we can make the adjustment by July first, and that's just something we're stuck with. There's no,
Is that an annual thing or is that quarterly or what drives that date?
it's,
Yeah, the fiscal year.
It's a fiscal year, okay.
adopted by the village back in 2007 or 8, that stipulates that we can only make adjustments to fees once a year, and they take effect July 1.
Okay, that's fair, that's fair enough, that's fair enough. I would say it would have been nice to have this issued earlier to give people more time to make the adjustments to meet that date.
Yeah,
Yeah, so for this year, that we didn't anticipate there's gonna be a lot of reduction in that fee because of the timing. We'd have to change the whole ordinance structure in order to make that date different, which it does make sense since we start our budget July 1 also, and that's why they did that back in the early 2000s. And so this year, there's not gonna be a lot of adjustment, but it's gonna give you all this coming year to get your certification so you can get the reduction in the following year. And unfortunately, it's just, with the timing and how long it took us to get the DSO out, which was a lot longer than we thought it would. We're just kind of stuck with that time schedule.
Okay, and then finally, one last item. I know those in the room got handouts with the QR codes. Are those QR codes published somewhere online that those of us who were unable to attend can access?
yeah, they're posted on or they will be posted after this meeting, actually, I think. Yeah, because we just revised them actually this past week, so they're going to be posted over Thursday, Friday, and I think Saturday. I have some posts set out. So yeah, and they'll have the link as well as a QR code, because I know sometimes with phones and things like that, you can't click a QR code, so we'll have the link up on our Facebook page. And then hopefully in the upcoming weeks, we'll have it up on the Angel Fire website as well, the fire department.
Okay, and so in the meantime, is there a phone number that we can call to schedule assessments?
Yeah, it is my number and it's 575-447-1179, I think. I'm pretty sure.
It's 447.
447, okay, that's the one part that I was worried about, so, yeah, it's 575-447-1179. You're welcome to give me a call. I'll be out of office until next Tuesday because my brother had a baby. But you're welcome to call, leave me a message, and I'll give you a call back.
Okay, thank you.
That's over B that's talking? No.
No.
That was just asking a question.
No, that wasn't Mike. It's somebody that says iPad.
I know,
Whoever's
he was
logged in
talking
says
to me,
iPad.
yeah. Cause I would say if it's Mike, I can email it to him.
Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay, sounds good. Awesome. Do you have any other questions, comments, concerns?
Are you the one who certifies or does the certificates then? Once it's all, if you feel your lot is fire wise or defensible space, who do we call for the certificate?
Yeah, so we're still trying to figure out the back end on that too. We're gonna do like a 2-week turnaround for all of the after assessment materials. So, but yes, it should be going through me, and then we have to do that approval process and stuff like that, so.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah.
My personal
Contact
house,
all-
I need that one looked at, but I think it's probably pretty close to being good.
Okay, awesome, yeah, and just contact me. For sure.
And the certificate is, who says that this certificate is a good thing? Is it recognized by insurance companies? Is it recognized by the
That's,
federal government?
that's
or is it
really,
just a-
no, it's just,
Hey, I'm Chess. I'm gonna give you a certificate that this is a great place.
yeah, so it's through the fire department in the village in conjunction with the village. We haven't reached out personally to insurance agents or insurance at all.
So it's
But it is
just
something,
a village,
yeah,
and fire department, and Angel Fire Department.
in hopes that
Piece
you
of paper
can,
that says, this is a good property.
yeah, that you can send it to your insurance agent. So
It's recognized by the insurance companies?
no, but you can send it, yeah.
Well, you send it to them and be like, hey,
So
we've
they're
got
on
this.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
When Rio Del Sol implemented the same thing.
They like it?
Rio Doso did this, I don't know, it was 8 or 9 years ago. And they did the same thing, and there are insurance companies that accept the Rio Doso certificate that they issue. I use USAA for insurance, and they have their own program, so they're not gonna accept, they don't care. If I have a certificate, they actually send somebody out to do an inspection of my property. But a lot of the insurance companies don't have that infrastructure, and so
I
we
just know
believe
if it
that
had
they're
a
going
name
to
behind
accept
it, like
this.
this is from the Colorado, University of Colorado.
So I think like
Somebody that
Lindsay
deals with
said, it's building up to become Firewise, and that's nationally recognized.
Yeah,
But we're not there yet, there's a long way to go.
stuff. Okay.
I think.
yeah. So yeah,
Sorry,
currently
I'm
right
just
now.
asking,
it's just-
asking questions.
Yeah. No, I love it. I need the questions asked, right? I mean, so it's more so just in the hopes, right, that we can help people out with insurance. And it's not just that certificate that you're gonna be getting, it's also a letter. And that can go a long way, for sure. And I've talked to, cause Captain Romo was doing the assessments before me, and he has been doing assessments for years now, and he usually sends a letter to the insurance saying, hey, like these are my credentials, this is, and this property is, in my books, okay, and a lot of people have been helped by that.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm sure it varies by insurance company, like the
Right.
example that Brett gave. My insurance company did the same thing, sent a person out to do an assessment. But while they were doing that assessment, I will say one of the questions they had was, does the Village of Angel Fire have a defensible space ordinance, and have you
So does
recently received
USA
it?
I think I do USA also, and I think I do remember that question.
So if they had, at the time, of course, there was no active DSO in place.
Mhm.
Now, when I have my certificate, when they ask that question next time they do an inspection,
Mhm.
I'm gonna say, yeah, we have a DSO and here's the inspection.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was also one of the goals of defensible space ordinance was to lower that ISO rate as well, which I think we are being inspected for here in June. Yeah, so having this in place, and tracking it as we did will hopefully also help with that.
And I guess, and I apologize.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was a big name behind this. Where do you actually get the guidelines for the defensible space?
Most of what I found, was NFPA guidelines. There was also some NFPA like building
Is that National Fire Protection?
agency,
Okay.
yeah. Also, WUI, Wildland Urban Interface Code as well.
Okay.
Which those are, NFPA is, nationally recognized, WUI is internationally recognized. And then, we took a bunch of stuff also from Firewise, also nationally, recognized. So everything in this DSO, and that's the way we wanted it, is researched and backed by one of those agents.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
This ambassador paper,
Yeah, so I was gonna get into that after the questions. We are also having a volunteer program to help with reassessments, things like that, but also just help me do education in the village. So there's a form back there. It's pretty much an itemized checklist of like, hey, I'm willing to be a volunteer, and you kind of check off what you're willing to do for me. I know this summer I'm gonna be doing a whole bunch of events. So most of the events that the Village of Angel Fire is throwing, I'm gonna be there. And I'm going to have a lot of educational materials, things like that, a big bouncy house for the kids. And I know I need somebody to help me watch kids in the bouncy house. So if anybody's willing to do that, I know there's probably not very many, but if you want to help me out, that'd be great. So our firefighters don't have to help me. So help me and Josh out, actually. But yeah, if you guys want to volunteer, we're still kind of building that program. We don't necessarily have anything planned out thus far for that. It would pretty much just be helping me out with events right now, and then going forward, hopefully doing looking at reassessments, things like that with my guidance and other things. So if you're interested in it, take a page, and then you can scan it in and email it to me, or you're welcome, to do it and just leave it tonight. But yeah, thank you. Otherwise, do you have any other questions about anything, any of that? Awesome. All right, thank you so much for coming today, guys. And hopefully we'll have a few more and show up to our wildfire preparedness day event. I will be there, May 3rd. It'll be super fun.
Are you gonna scan it to those guys?